The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Excuse me. We start off Monday morning. We have S&Ps right now up about 6 points. We were just at a price point of 4,000. We hit it right on the dot at about 8:20 a.m. this morning. We're just off that level, but all the markets in the green. NASDAQ 100, we're up by about 15 points right now. Quite the acceleration Friday in the markets. I think, the S&P up about 72 points. Check out the NASDAQ 100 from where we were on Thursday. You're talking about 400 points, about where we opened today. Dow Jones up about 84 points. That's a 0.25%. We're up about 500 points from the lows just on Friday, 33,555. And we'll get the Russell barely positive by less than a point, 1876. Crude holding pretty well. We're coming up to the highs we had last week, 82.12 on the price of crude, up by 50 cents. Gold contract back a bit just in the last, 905. Yeah, just since I came on the air. Gold dropping a bit right now. We're at 1917. The price of gold, we were up to 1930. Not sure what just hit, but gold dropping a bit as we speak right now. And we jump over to notes and bonds, and something's going on right now. Because, backing out. Look at the move we just got in the 10-year, man. Now that's from 825. There's your 905 drop a bit. But nonetheless, the 10-year off about 14 ticks right now. And you're talking about a yield, 3.54%. 3.54. We take a look at that 10-year on a little bit of a longer-term basis. We break out of that channel line. It would be interesting to see what happens if we come back into that channel line. That'd be at about 113, depending on when we hit that on the 10-year. You got the 30-year right now, pretty similar chart pattern. 30-year negative by 24 ticks this morning. And we jump over to the volatility index, the VIX this morning with a positive market, actually a little bit elevated. Checking it out, right? From where we were on Friday, quite the drop-off. In terms of under 20, markets accelerate higher. We're back to 2017. The market positive, even with the VIX, positive by 32 ticks. And going a little bit longer term, brought it up, man. It's going to be interesting to see. We're almost through the month of January right now. Are we going to get a new trend in volatility premium this year? With the VIX, previously, anytime you make it down to this level, man, you're talking about a period of 1 to 2 weeks. And then, boom, the acceleration was to higher price yet again in the VIX, usually pointing, not usually, every time pointing to lower prices in the market as we got accelerations, right? 5 different times last year, 5 different times. That's once every couple months. We saw the VIX spike to about 35. You got to 34.88, I believe. Yeah, back in September. You're talking about first spike in January, second spike in March, May, June, September late, and early October. That's almost one spike there, but you did make it all the way back down to 28. So as you see, we've been chopping around at this level, though, basically since December 2nd, almost 2 full months chopping around at about 20. Nonetheless, we'll see where we go from there. And let's jump to currencies. Dollar index. Let's see if we're moving right now with that action in gold. Yeah, we sure are. You have the dollar trading higher. Look at that. Excuse me. From 101.60, you're at 102.23. You take a look on the daily. And boy, you're getting a little bit of a pop today, man, but very hard to find a pop in terms of that when you look at it. Lower prices in the dollar, man. Pretty remarkable. You're at 115. Boom. Just like that. You're back at 102. You jump over the euro right now. Euro US dollar. Yeah, there's a little bit of a reversal on the euro, man. You make it up to 109.2. Just like that. You're back to 108.5 right now on the euro. And let's jump over to the dollar yen as we jump around these markets. Dollar yen right now. Ooh, this one's an interesting one. Yeah, so look at this. Coming right back up to kind of where this has formed a trend line to the upside. Now, you saw where that was on the 15-minute. Let's extend that line to the right to put it all the way over there. Boy, you're jumping right up to that level. Now, not exactly a channel line, maybe on the downside. Yeah, you can probably line one up on the downside as well. Bumping up. Now, this is, lower lows, lower highs in the dollar yen. I got a story somewhere up there in the yen in terms of what we'll be talking about. Is that it? No. All right, we'll find it. There it is. Japan's finance minister warns of severe finances as the Bank of Japan struggles to contain yields. Man, we talk to our man Teddy Kegstad about this all the time when we talk to him Wednesdays, folks, at 10:40. Great segment talking about Forex, talking about markets, yields, commodities come into that, of course. So you have the finance minister reiterating the government's aim to achieve an annual budget surplus, excluding new bond sales and debt servicing costs in the fiscal year to March 2026. The government, however, has missed budget balancing targets for a decade. Yeah, they're not the only ones. Nonetheless, quite the pullback on the yen, man. But today, we're bumping up against the upper boundary line of the recent channel 130.76. Okay, let's jump around to some of what we have going on. We're going to go a little big picture first. And as I jumped around, where was I? Was I here? Here it is. We're going to start it off with Morgan Stanley's Wilson, okay? This guy was like top analyst somewhere. He's been on the ball, man, for a while. He even called the run up that we've had right now. Late last year, I remember some of what he was talking about was, listen, we're going to see a run up in the markets as the Fed curtails their hiking, restrictive policies, but guess what? That's only going to precede a downturn in the markets in 2023 driven by recession and earnings problems, okay? So what he's talking about here, U.S. stocks aren't pricing in weak data. Survey indicators point to earnings recession ahead. Point of reckoning could come during the current quarter. And the one chart I really wanted to pull up on this, okay, is this chart right here. Falling earnings growth may hurt the U.S. equities. The S&P 500 struggles for gains as earnings forecasts are being cut. Now check it out. You got the S&P 500 in black here. Let's blow this up. Because no matter what, folks, earnings, it's what everything's about. They might be coming now. They might be coming later, okay? Growth stocks, they're usually coming later where the valuation comes from, but it's all about earnings. You're not making any money. Your company's worth nothing. Now, generally, if your gross revenue is X dollars and you're able to have some type of a margin, the more revenue you're taking in. The story of Amazon, they grew revenue forever, never had any earnings, and then what did they do? They eventually turned it into an earnings powerhouse, right? But check it out, man. When you look at where this is in terms of where we came into 2022, okay, we have seen, now this is, obviously I can see right here. So this is basically 2022 is probably going to be in at this point in the chart. This where it says 2022 is probably the middle of the year, okay? So since the middle of last year, I know that because I know that the S&P 500 started trading lower right here. So this point in the chart, if you're looking at my charts right now on Tiger TV, is the beginning of 2022, okay? You had forward EPS going up for the first 6 months of the year. Well, for the last 6 months and change, folks, going into this year, we have blended forward earnings per share going down. And meanwhile, we've actually seen the S&P go up during that time, even though you've had some volatility in terms of where those earnings peaked, where we are on that level. And, you know, what he's talking about here, okay, let's get some of the quotes. One of the most vocal bears, he has been, man, but he's been calling it, and he's not been always a bear. He called the acceleration higher, which is even more interesting when you get into it. Recent optimism around a less hawkish Federal Reserve, China reopening, and a weaker dollar is already priced in. Okay, so we all know that, man, right? That's the run-up we've had, but guess what's not? The question is when equity indices price the current weakness in the leading data and the eventual weakness in the hard data, okay? We think it's this calendar quarter. And there he was, #1 in last year's institutional investor survey. We'll talk about some others, folks. Salesforce, they're getting an upgrade today. They're trading higher. We'll talk about some of the earnings coming up this week. Lots to talk about. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be right back. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&P right now up by 2 points. NASDAQ 100 up by 3. The Dow up 68. We jump back to the dollar. Quite a resurgence, man. You were down to 101.60. You were almost making fresh lows. Would that have been the low? Yeah, that would have been the low, man. Let's see. We got to, on the 18th last week, 101.52, we'll call it. And today we got to 101.58 on that dollar index. So not quite there, quite a little pop, but almost making new lows on that dollar index. All right, jumping around to what else we had pulled up. How about the top hedge funds out there? Boy, it's like the big sharks out there taking all the money, man. The biggest of them all, Ken Griffin Citadel. How about it? $16 billion. The top 20 made $22.4 billion in profit. But boy, you want to see a number after that, folks? Let me pull the number. Where's the losses? Come on. There it is. It's a different story outside the industry giants, with hedge funds overall losing $208 billion last year, as many managers found themselves, as many did, on the wrong side of global market turmoil. Estimated a return of 3.4% at the top 20 managers, while the rest of the funds suffered losses of 8.2%. The market down dramatically more than that. So to that degree. But yeah, you got Citadel taking in $16 billion and going down the list. So the way they rank this one is by net gain since launch in terms of how this is categorized, ordered. But boy, some of the big numbers out there: D.E. Shaw, $8.2 billion, Bridgewater, $6.2 billion out there, Elliott, $2.8 billion, huge wins. Lone Pine, not familiar, almost an $11 billion loss. But yeah, huge numbers, man. Citadel, just some amazing numbers to put out there. All right, let's jump to some of the news with equities. We jump to Salesforce. Activist Elliott, speaking of, right? Where were they just on that list? They were just somewhere, man. Where were they? $2.8 billion last year, $42.1 billion gains since launch. There you go. Activist Elliott, second activist investor now involved at Salesforce. It will cut about 10% of the workforce, is what Salesforce has already agreed to, okay? But Elliott's taken a substantial position now. You have Salesforce trading higher this morning. And yeah, Salesforce is one of the preeminent software companies in the world, and having followed the company for nearly 2 decades, we've developed a deep respect for Mark Benoit. Is that how you say it? I believe so. This is the managing partner at Elliott, Jesse Cohn. We look forward to working constructively with Salesforce to realize the value befitting a company of its stature. Now, yeah, they bought Slack, amazing, almost 2 years ago, for $27.7 billion. They've tripled their workforce in the past 4 years, okay, on top of that. But you get into the stock, CRM is their symbol. Now you're going to open up about 4% higher. There's your pop on that news with Elliott in there. And you pull up the weekly, though, for the long term, man. You give it all up on COVID, right? From 115.29. Some of this volatility to the, that was earnings. I was going to say some of this had to do, maybe this was had to do with Slack in terms of the market not being very excited that they were paying $28 billion for Slack. I remember there were some deep pullbacks there. But let's go even a little bit longer term picture on this equity, man. Quite a run up from $2 I have on my chart to $3.11. You give back basically the entire COVID low, right? COVID lows, you get down to 115. We recently just got down to 126 in the grand scheme of 311, well below the 786. It's a strong growth company, man. You know, I imagine that they are going to be a player. I imagine that's why you're seeing some of those activist investors coming in saying, hey, guess what? They're not getting it done right now, but I think they have the pieces to provide more value. And this thing is just off the lows last month of 126, and you're going to open at 157. So what is that? Up 25% off those lows right now? But boy, be careful. Percentages on small numbers, right, can be deceiving. That's one of them. Okay, let's see what else we have pulled up here in terms of action this morning. Yeah, Spotify. We'll talk about cuts. They're cutting. Not surprising you're getting all these cuts, folks. The 600 employees at a company like Spotify, yes, that's 6% of the workforce, and that's 600 lives, man. Okay, so for those 600 people, that's a hardship, to put it lightly, that they personally is a real tough one, especially right now. I mean, the job market seems strong with 3.5% unemployment, but I think if you're going out there trying to get a tech job right now, that is a tough one, man. And it might be a tough one for the next year or two before things really rebound and this market really recalibrates, right? The move was announced in a filing today. So you got Spotify laying off. Again, not surprising. They have about 10,000 employees. They have 38. I mean, I wonder what they just grew to. The amount of people that these companies just added is remarkable, folks. So that's why these numbers are not as worrisome as they would normally be in more normal times where companies hadn't doubled their workforce recently. Just other headlines you'll see out there today as we come into the opening bell in 6 or 7 minutes. Not surprising here, Apple. Yeah, they're going to diversify away from China, man. Apple wants to manufacture 25% of its phones in India, that minister said. So 25%, up from 5 to 7% currently. Now, when that would happen, right? Last year, Apple began assembling its iPhone 14 in India, the first time Apple produced its latest model in India so close to the launch. And yeah, they've been diversifying, looking to diversify from China for obvious reasons. They've been manufacturing iPhones in India since 2017, but usually those are older models. So they're pushing out the good stuff in China, and then they push it over to India out there. Apple could make 25% of all iPhones globally in India by, not bad, man, 2 years. Imagine that, right? They provide phones to X amount of people in the world, millions, if not billions, and they're going to do a quarter of their production in a different country in the next couple of years. Not an easy feat. Apple has just a 5% market share in India's smartphone market. Yeah. He's not the only CEO. Tim Cook and about every other CEO in the world has long seen India as a potential area for growth. Folks, you want to make a lot of money? Figure out something you can sell in India. Yeah, or China. But okay, other headlines we got up here. We talked about Salesforce. We'll jump to that one. Spotify, Citadel. Yeah, let's jump over to the euro. So we talked about the currencies today. Now, it's interesting, right? Euro leads gains against dollar as traders mull the Fed pace. So we are coming into obviously a big week of earnings. We're going to talk about that as we come into the opening bell. But we're almost a week away from the Fed meeting. February 1st is, I think it's, tomorrow. A week from tomorrow, the 31st, they begin the meeting on Tuesday. January 31st. And then you'll have a press conference, announcement at 2 o'clock, press conference to follow at 2:30 Eastern time on Wednesday, February 1st. And the question is 25 basis points or 50. And is there any indication of what they go next? I'd be very surprised if there's any surprises. You could see 25, but any rhetoric about stopping those rate hikes, man, we're just not even close to the numbers that we need, I feel, on the consumer price index. 3.5% unemployment with CPI running between 5 and 6%, depending if you're talking about core or headline number. Very difficult to talk about just keeping rates where they are as opposed to hiking. Remember, folks, we just went 75 4 times. We went 50 once. I mean, we could go 25 for the next 3 meetings, and that would just be 175 hike, right? It was just so drastic. I think everybody wants to stop so quickly. The numbers have to line up with that, and we just haven't seen them yet. The trend is our friend so far, but boy, we have a long way to go, to put it lightly. All right, jumping back to the charts, we got markets rising into the opening bell right now. You have the S&Ps up by 8 points, 39.96. All the markets in the green. Crude up to 82.16 right now. Gold off $8. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be coming back from the market open.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David Wright has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open. You're looking at S&P up by 5 points right now. NASDAQ, we're up by 26. Let's jump around to some of the FANG stocks, see how we're opening. You got Apple marginally higher this morning at 138. We jump off Microsoft shares up about 0.1% so far this morning. Google shares down 0.1%. Amazon down about 0.2% right now. They drop on the opening bell. Meta shares up by about 0.3%. Let's see how Tesla's doing. Tesla up about 1.5% right now, coming into the highs of last Wednesday of about 137.50. You're at 135.30 so far this morning for Tesla. And let's jump around to some of the companies. They're going to be out with their numbers. Now, Tesla, we'll start here. They are out with their numbers on Wednesday. Yeah, so Tesla out with their numbers on Wednesday. Let's see if we can even see when they are in terms of before or after the bell. What are we talking about here? Oh, we got Microsoft. We got some good companies. We got Amazon this week, man. Yeah, is that right? Yeah, it sure is. Let me check that. No, so we got Tesla shares. They're out with their numbers on Wednesday. So Tesla, $10 move basically priced in for their numbers. And you jump over to see the week, because it's only Monday. If you want exposure, you're looking at about 10% move for Tesla shares in either direction. Doesn't sound that bad with the volatility it's been getting lately, and you add earnings on top of that. Now, I did say Microsoft. I don't know if they're coming out, though. Are they? Is Microsoft out this week as well? Let's do it. They sure are, man. They're out tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, and Amazon's out tomorrow, too, isn't it? No, Amazon's out February 2nd. Okay. So Microsoft's going to be tomorrow as well. We get Tesla on Wednesday. Yeah, look, we get a lot. We got Boeing earnings, I believe, Wednesday before the bell. Yeah, Wednesday, IBM. After the bell on Wednesday, LRCX, Lam Research. After the bell on Wednesday, CSX, Levi. Yeah, look at all these companies. Okay. And then to some of the names on Thursday that are coming out, let's see, we got Comcast, MasterCard, Sherwin-Williams. Let's see how Sherwin-Williams is doing. What's going on? Did I lose mine? There it is. So Wednesday, they're out Thursday. Sherwin-Williams. We pull up the chart. This thing up from 233. Let's put a little longer term time frame. Let's see what we're dealing with here off the COVID lows. Looking on a longer term. Yeah, chopped around at about the 618. Made it below that level. You're back to about a 50% decline from the COVID lows to 354. Yeah, quite the drop off like everything else from the highs of 2021. Interesting how that plays out too. Paint, housing, etc. Right? JetBlue shares, they're out with their numbers on Thursday as well. We get Southwest on Thursday as well. Visa. Yeah, we get a lot of companies this week, man. Intel, there we go. Visa. So Visa, only about an $8 move expected. Intel shares trading at $29, and you're talking about a $2 move, so decent move there for Intel shares as well. Yeah, but jumping back, so we get let's see. When are Disney earnings? No, they're February 8th. Okay. So we get Microsoft, kicks things off tomorrow, man. $10 move, $240 stock right now from Microsoft. And then into high gear we go with Tesla, IBM, Lam Research, Boeing, MasterCard, many others this week as we go into it. And then the week following, we get some more Amazon tech stocks as well with their numbers. Amazon, yeah, next Thursday, their numbers. Let's see when Google is. Going to be the same day, next Thursday. Let's see when Facebook is. Wednesday, next Wednesday, they'll be out. When I say Disney, February 8th for Disney shares. All right, market giving it up a little bit. You got the Dow rolling over to negative prices. That's a pretty quick drop off on the opening bell there. Yeah, we just gave up 150 points in the Dow in a heartbeat in 5 minutes, man. S&Ps, you gave up about 6-7 points, 39.88 right now. We jumped to commodities. Crude holding up pretty well above $82 right now. Gold at $19.19. We jump over to that dollar index, DXY. Yeah, 102.22. Let's see how the VIX doing as the market sells off a bit, sitting at about 2017. Okay. When are those Intel earnings again? Are those Wednesday as well? Thursday. Intel earnings Thursday. Okay. Intel, Microsoft, Tesla, yeah, Boeing. And along with, I think we get some economic data this week too. We get PMI or something. We get GDP in some form I remember hearing about this morning. Let's see. Okay, we'll pull that up after the break. And how about, folks, I got to pull up, this horrible Monterey Park shooting. Just heart goes out to anybody out there that's impacted in this. The one uplifting note, if you haven't heard about it, when this gentleman, Brandon Tay, maybe, disarmed the shooter at the next location. If you get a chance to watch the interview, folks, it's just pretty awe-inspiring, just to put. This guy came in to that second location with a gun, and he basically disarmed him with his hands, took it away, and saved a lot of lives. And man, it's just some intense stuff when you wake up to stories like this with 8 people, 10 people shot. Seems like it's happening every day right now. But one bright note, man, that guy right there saving a lot of lives, just taking that gun. And I know it's a finance show, man, but if you haven't watched it, he was on Good Morning America this morning, about a 5-minute interview. And boy, pretty amazing stuff. A little sidebar, but I had that one up on my website this morning as well, and in terms of on my browser this morning as well. All right, what else do we have pulled up? Jumping back to what we have. Let's see. We talked about Elliott. Yeah, let's talk about this one. So you got the banks teaming up to take on Apple Pay. Bank of America, JP Morgan, and other banks are going to team up on a digital wallet to rival Apple Pay. God bless them. That one's an interesting one. I use Apple Pay myself, but it is interesting that you basically just tie Apple Pay to a credit card, right? But according to the Journal, you got it's going to be operated by Early Warning Services, which is a joint venture from several banks that also run Zelle. Now, if you haven't used Zelle, I have used Zelle, folks. And it's a very convenient service for sending money, etc. You could see how that could play out. The new wallet, it's going to be initially launched with Visa and MasterCard already on board. Similar move, and that could be seen as an effort to slow Apple's push into consumer banking, as the tech giant already offers a branded credit card and is exploring other products for their famously loyal customer base. I don't understand the credit card industry that well, but it is interesting that they don't have their own credit card. It seemed like they could push out enough to have their own credit card, as in you got to take another credit card and tie it to an Apple Pay. When they were first coming out with Apple Pay, remember the big question was whether they were just going to literally have their own credit card that could be used within the phone. They didn't go that route. They allowed you to hook any credit card up to that Apple Pay. I imagine that's going to change at some point in time, folks. Yeah, we've talked about let's talk a little bit of gold. We got 2 gold stories up here. We got first Yamana Gold. Their CEO, Peter Maroney, says chatter points to more industry mergers and acquisitions. My dad has interviewed this guy a couple times, I believe. We'll talk about this a little bit when we get back. We'll take a look at some gold. We'll be right back, folks. Stay tuned.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps up by 7. A little bit of a divergence here. You have the Dow negative by 39 points right now. Let's jump around to some of the banks, see how we're trading this morning. Pretty flat right now. Bank of America down about 1/10%. Jump to some of the airlines. JetBlue up about 0.2%. We got their earnings later in the week. Southwest as well. We jumped to some of the bigger airlines. American up about 0.2%. Let's see how some of the FANG stocks. Apple gets a boost. Look at that, man. Up by more than 1%. Now, Microsoft just announced their deal with ChatGPT, OpenAI. I think that's why you're getting some real volatility on Microsoft shares right now. We'll jump to that story in a moment. But before we do, finishing up for gold. So gold's off $11 right now at $19.17, but it's been quite a run. So this was just talking about Peter Maroney. Now they have the deal closing, pending takeover by Pan American and Agnico Eagle. There we go. We'll see Maroney move on from a company he started 2 decades ago to try his hand at private equity. That has to be approved January 31st. Biggest gold deal since last February if it gets done. He has advocated for consolidation in an industry that's wrestled with underinvestment and depleting reserves. Okay, so top miners like Newmont and Agnico have bulked up through acquisitions in recent years, catching the eye of investors. Still, a vast number of junior and mid-sized producers don't get the same attention and have struggled to raise capital. That's partly why he plans to go into some private equity venture aimed at investing in gold mines in his next career chapter. And that's going to be with Yamana Chief Executive Officer Daniel Racine. The pair want to find hidden gems, projects with the potential to produce higher grades at lower costs. Who doesn't want to find that, right? So nonetheless, you talk about that, but gold, man, we're pushing 8-month high, and analysts expect it to continue to rise. Saxo Bank's Ole Hansen said focus this week will be on Thursday's U.S. CPI inflation. No, this is old. When did this come up? Okay, how did I get that? I said, that's not right. We already got that CPI, and it was a little light, but the market loved it. Microsoft announces that multi-billion-dollar investment. So what are the terms of this deal as it pops up? They said it was going to be about $10 billion. So they declined to provide the specific dollar amount. I wonder if they'll have to disclose this. Seems like they would, right? I mean, I, as an investor and a shareholder in Microsoft, I would like to know if they're spending $10 billion on an acquisition of a company that's a tech company that pushed out an AI bot. Now, they've done more than that, okay? So OpenAI is ranked by AI researchers as one of the top 3 AI labs worldwide, and the company has developed game-playing AI software that can beat humans at video games like Dota 2. However, it's arguably received more attention for the ChatGPT. Yeah, so see, I mean, It's amazing what's going to happen. I saw Boston Scientific, I think it was. Do you see the robot that they put together, man? If you haven't found it, I'll Google it at the break, and I'll post something to the den. I want to see the video. If you haven't seen the robot that Boston Scientific's got, man, it's basically Terminator style. Boston Dynamic, thank you. It's basically Terminator style, man. The thing's jumping upstairs. It's throwing things. You add into that, I was watching something yesterday. I'll try and find this one as well, a friend shared. NVIDIA has a beta something, okay? Eye contact. Let me see if I can find this one. Yeah, check this out. So I got a couple links. A new eye contact feature, okay? And what it allows you to do is it uses AI to make the video appear like you're always making eye contact with the camera, and it's seamless. It's just amazing where all this stuff is going. So Microsoft inks that deal. It is the third phase of the partnership. So they had an investment in 2019 and 2021. They renewed will accelerate breakthroughs in AI and help both companies commercialize advanced technologies in the future. Long term, you got to like that. And then you really want to start getting interest into long term. Imagine a world where the thought of Googling something with you having to put in a phrase and then sort through the information to find the best answer is laughably outdated, because that's the world we're right on the cusp of, man. I mean, who is to say that the world can't change that quickly, folks? So be aware of that. Even as a Google fan, be aware how quickly things can change when one service can instantly take over another if it becomes that much better. It's the way it happened with Google, and Google's been there for 20 years, which is crazy. Would it make sense they're there forever with how quickly technology changes? No. 20 years is a very long time. And I'm sure Microsoft, they've tried to do it before with Bing, wants to get into, and they've tried to do it before. Is Bing still around? I don't even know. It speaks to how out of the leadership role that Bing ever even was close to. But anyway, it's a cool service, folks, if you haven't used it. You know, see if I can pull it up, because I created an account and then I couldn't get back in because they were telling me that it was basically full. And that's why they need more money for more servers, because so many people are using it. I'll try and pull that one up as well. All right, these markets, everything back in the green right now. We get the S&Ps up by 16. You're back above 4,000 right now. Let's take a look. Okay, the run that this thing had from about 41.50 down to 38.18. We climbed back up to the 618. You trade all the way down to 3,900. We're back above 4,000. That area we got to, folks. The highs of January 17th, about 4,035, before you had a sell-off of 120, 130 points over the span of 1 to 2 days. Be interesting to see what happens when we get back up there. And interesting to see what happens when we come into some big earnings this week, man, because it's not going to stop. We're getting them this week, and we're getting them next week. 2 weeks of very important earnings with the Federal Reserve meeting right in the middle of that, which adds to that, of course. Let's see how Salesforce is trading this morning on their upgrade. Well, not upgrade. Elliott takes a activist investor position. Up about 2.3. You give back some of that on the open. Let's see how Netflix is doing after their week last week. Yeah, the market likes that, man. They're up 1.7%. What are they at? 7.7 million subscribers. The 382 on this, you could face a little bit of heat because, man, I'm sure you got a lot of people, okay? Netflix traded from 701, and you were cut in half by January 17th. This thing chopped around. You see consolidations, man. You got a whole reprieve earnings season until you traded lower, but you're talking about a period of about 3 months that you were in the area of about 350 to 400, and that was after this stock got cut in half. All those people were in losing positions. They finally got even. Nonetheless, you could face a little bit of a headwind. That's the 382 as well for Netflix at about 373. Yeah. We talked about a lot of the different articles. I mean, this one was interesting. Decided not to really bring it up, but it talks about activist investors versus the funds, indice passive investing. And it makes the example to Michael Jordan. Okay, activist fund managers beat Michael Jordan for once. And what this talks about is, you know, passive index investing is the reliable bet. and activist investors beat it, but they beat it in a year that when you take a small sample size of 1 year, right, those numbers can pan out to almost any degree, and they even make some free throw analyses that work through that. So on the long term, paying those fees, even in, when you have losing years and they don't keep up, it really can eat. But interesting nonetheless, man, when you see funds like that, Citadel, you see even smaller losses on a year where you had the market down 20%. Stay tuned, folks. S&P's up 18, markets climb, and NASDAQ up 112. We'll be right back.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&P's up by 21. Market's catching a bid right now. We're back to a 5-minute chart to see the acceleration. You're above where we were at 820. We're pushing 4,010 on the S&P's up 21 points. NASDAQ 100, we're up 1.1% right now. Apple catching a lift. You're up 1.4% right now. Microsoft up 0.6%. They ink a deal with ChatGPT. You got Google shares right now up 0.8%. Amazon flat on the session, a little bit of volatility in both directions. Salesforce with their new investor up 2%, but man, they were up to all the way up to 159. I'm going to jump over to that ChatGPT service. Folks, you have to create an account. Sometimes it's full. It won't let you use it. But here's an example. So I just put in, now this only has data through 2021. Here's what's interesting, right? So where does it get this data? Because the news just out that China's population declined, right? This is how quickly things move sometimes. Well, this is version 3, GPT-3. Some of the cool talk about what is going to be GPT-4 in terms of how much more accelerated the learning AI capabilities could be of that chatbot, let alone everything else they're doing. But look at the answer it just spit out to me. Projected to begin declining around the year 2027, according to the UN World Population Prospects. I think I mentioned the UN, how far off they were just even as of a couple of years ago in terms of when China's would decline. It's already happening, folks. They declined in 2022. You can put in anywhere, folks. When will gold rise above 2,500 again? Difficult to predict with certainty. I mean, if you're seeing this happen, folks, it's pretty remarkable. And then the coolest part about this is that you can actually shift things and have it put out an answer in the tone of such and such writer, such and such politician. I saw some in the tone of Donald Trump. And no matter what you think about him, man, this thing nailed it left and right in terms of the grandiose speak that comes with it to impersonate people, their tone, everything. Will my trade make money? Let's go. Those AI bots, you don't think they're in the works? You know they're in the works. Folks, thanks for starting your Monday off with me, starting your week off with me. We got S&Ps up by 21. We got a big week of earnings. Stay tuned. We got our man Basil Chapman coming up next. Live programming all day at TFNN. Have a great Monday, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.